Hello, I'm Dr. Valerie. I'm here at My Spirit Matters, and we're talking about issues related to families and friends who have a loved one who has a problem with alcohol or drugs. You know, it's really hard to determine the degree or the magnitude of the problem. And we all know what social drinking is like, social use, where it's fun, everyone's having a good time. But oftentimes when that is pushed to the limit and over a period of time, the social use begins to change and it begins to border on abuse. And that's the topic that I'm wanting to spend a little bit more time talking about today, because that's when it's really difficult to identify. But what happens for most people, when I talk to them after they've come into treatment, they can say, well, yeah, I knew something was wrong. I knew the person wasn't acting right, and there were a couple of times I did think they were drinking more or they were hiding it, but I wasn't sure. And I think it's that point of not being sure that has a lot of people stopping themselves from being involved and maybe even intervening at the abuse stage, because they're seeing that person change. And oftentimes the person will deny it and say, oh, I'm not that bad, or there's Henry down the street, he's worse than I am. But it's not about anyone down the street, it's not about anyone else, it's about what's happening in that person's life and what you are experiencing. Now, most of us want to, make sure we have it right and not accuse someone of something that we don't know for sure. But it's your gut instincts, your feelings, that are going to give you the biggest clue that something is not right, that something is wrong. Your gut instinct that's going to say, that's a little off, or that's a little weird. And most family members will hang in there with their loved one, even though they're seeing things that either don't add up and don't make sense. How many times can there be an excuse for their responsibilities not being taken care of? And how many times will you say, well, okay, I'll take care of it for you? You're beginning to see that there's difficulty. And a lot of the times, some of it appears in how they treat you, the way they interact with you. If their behavior is becoming more antagonistic and more aggressive and with more force, something is going on here. And if you feel that you're having to walk on eggshells to engage them and to be around them, there's a problem here. That should not be happening. And if you can't talk to them, okay, what's that about? Well, that's about them wanting to protect what they're doing. And if you're not in looking at it and asking them to talk about it, then they don't have to, and they can continue. I'm not saying go on a witch hunt, but I am saying be aware of what's going on around you and be willing to put it on the table in a calm way, in a clear way, and to say, hey, I noticed this yesterday. What was happening? What's going on? And if it doesn't make sense, don't try to make sense of it. Just say, well, sorry, it doesn't make sense to me. Not sure why you would have handled it that way. There are other possibilities. I'm just concerned that there's more going on. Begin to articulate your concern, your fear, and your worry. Don't wait until there's more evidence or there's more reason, because then you've watched this progression, and the longer you watch it, And the longer it goes, the more difficult it will be for the person to come back to their center. Okay?